I've been doing this for 37 years now, and been through a few administrations. Worked closely with the Department of Energy under many administrations, and I can say that we've always done better when we had bipartisan support, and we've always done worse when we had partisan support. And so I would, in looking to the opportunities of the future, is really building bipartisan support moving forward, rather than becoming more colloquial and sticking with, oh well, we have these types of things that we're going to go after. PV is a unique technology. It's why I've been doing it for 37 years, and there is nothing else like it in the world. And so it has its own capabilities, it has its own benefits, but it can't do everything. And I think what part of it is not overselling it either, because when we oversell our technology, we open the door for those that would be against it to have an opportunity to snipe it. And so we work with the strengths, and we form partners that can work with us on those strengths, and they could come from either side of the aisle.
Okay, so from So from an insurance perspective, actually, I think the solar, there's like battery energy storage systems, and then there's solar. From the solar standpoint, from an overall insurance industry's perspective, they like it. I think there's a strong understanding of what is involved, the risk factors. There are situations in which it depends on where you're actually building that solar installation. So we've got the same thing with anyone. If you're in a place where there's wildfires, guess what? If your house is in a place where there's wildfires, and you have a solar installation where there's wildfires, there's more issues there, right, than there used to be. And flooding is an issue, and actually hail is an issue in some of the areas in certain zip codes. So there is a little bit of that overlay going on of natural disaster, global warming that we're seeing across the whole insurance sector. But in general, I would say solar is considered to be a fairly mature, much more mature market for a lot of insurance companies. Not everyone wants to do we're talking vertical, right? There's all kinds of things. There's manufacturers, installers, operators. So, and then what's a little bit more interesting, because I think the panel was also about the storage, that is more tricky. So that's a little newer onto the market, and the insurance companies are not as up to, because it's like, where are you putting these battery energy storage systems? Are they inside the building? Are they outside the building? What kind of standards apply? And so underwriters are a little more skittish and a little more cautious, and those are hard. Some are easy to do and some are harder to do. But I would just say that that's a little newer in the market compared to just solar installation. So from an insurance standpoint, there are lots of challenges, if anyone knows about the wildfires in our state and so forth. And underwriters demand a lot more information, but so I kind of bifurcated across those two areas, but there's a lot of excitement in many ways for.
Okay, so a little bit about background of REPT Batro. So we're among the top 5 battery manufacturers today for energy storage. So we supply cells, modules, packs for energy storage systems and EVs and so forth. So I'm going to give you a perspective from a battery manufacturer, right? So the way we see it is demand is just been growing, more so on the ESS side than the EV side. And the ESS side, especially with grid scale products and so forth, last year we shipped about 2.5 gigawatt hours just in the US, and the demand just continues to grow, right? And it's not just the US as well. This is a global phenomenon. There are so many other countries now adopting renewables, and the major factor here is economics. Solar plus storage in a lot of countries is the cheapest form of energy, and it has become more and more real. And today we see the Middle East growing, Australia growing, a lot of other markets, and China is 4 or 5 times the US market size, right? So from the perspective of a manufacturer, it's very optimistic the way we see things, right? And really, when you look at the U.S. today, maybe the next few years might not be as much growth as we expected, but this industry is not going to go away, right? And from a battery manufacturer perspective, costs have really dropped because of this demand, right? So if you'd asked me 2 years ago what battery systems were, they were probably 1.7, 1.8x what it is today, right? And they've really dropped over time. And this will reflect for all segments, residential, CNI, grid scale, and all of this is expected to improve the economics. So very optimistic. We see, a lot bright future for this industry, and this is just a bump along the way. So actually in China, they've actually met that target, and they're much below that target as well, right? For a fully installed system, we've heard, less than $100 per kilowatt hour, right? For everything, inverter, battery, all the components put in there, installation, everything. In the US, we are probably close to 2x that at the moment, right? But,
this is lithium-ion.
Lithium-ion, LFP, lithium ferrophosphate predominantly. However, today with tariffs and everything in place, prices are a little higher than they should be. But companies like us are diversifying our supply. We are now going to start manufacturing in Indonesia. So from a tariff standpoint, you'd see that benefit quickly to customers coming in there, right? So as a battery equipment supplier, we're also ensuring that we can provide the most competitive, lowest cost products to our customers, right? So positioning ourselves well, and I think long term, with the increase in demand, it will just be like solar. The early days of solar prices were crazy, and then it all started going down, right? So we're going to see the same curve, and we're going to see the same kind of demand for energy storage overall.
I do think we're kind of in this golden age right now, especially in 2025, as the new administration's taken over. We are kind of at a point of capitalizing on a lot of these incentive stacks that are kind of the underpinning of the financial economics of these projects. And so we've all heard today, coupled with the rising cost of power, and mainly again speaking on the CNI side of the table, that the economics of these projects really haven't been better. I mean, they weren't better 5 years ago, and the years before that. And the industry is very cyclical. We kind of go through these ebbs and flows of regulatory changes, of incentive changes, and it's really interesting to sit on kind of this developer owner side of the fence, and we're looking at, okay, what is our all-in kind of ESA, cost per kilowatt hour that we can offer to our customers. And so I see a huge opportunity right now, and this compelling event with the Inflation Reduction Act, and potential changes to it in the coming preceding years, that customers can really capitalize on, again, just maximizing the value that they're getting out of these projects. So as kind of on a business development side, selling to large end power users, I think there's a tremendous opportunity to really push this compelling event that 2025 is going to be a very big year, I think, for most of the developers kind of straddling this behind the meter commercial and industrial space. Obviously, on the flip side of that, the risks of losing the tax credit and losing some of these additional regulatory environments and net metering and other state-funded demand response programs, kind of cast some uncertainty on the future of the industry. But I do think that there will continue to be support. From what we've heard so far, there has been kind of a bipartisan support of the IRA and continuing this legislation, through its end of 2032. And so we're definitely seeing an uptick in interest across the board in all of our core markets in the U.S. of interest, and the economics of these deals being extremely attractive.